Hey, it's your pal Fernbarker, and today we're going to take a look at Ryobi's new dual power 800 watt inverter. So what makes this thing pretty cool is it will run off a 12 volt power or any of the 18 1 plus batteries in the Ryobi battery system. Included in the box is of course the inverter itself. You get a pair of alligator clamps to connect to your car battery or any 12 volt battery, I guess. Also included in the box is a cable that allows you to plug it into a standard 12 volt automotive style outlet, and then the other end is a proprietary plug that is going to plug right here on your unit. So with this cable plugged in, you won't be able to plug in the 18 volt battery. On the business end of this unit, you have two of your standard 120 volt receptacles. Even though the unit can do 800 watts when connected to 12 volt power through the terminals on the backside here, you can only get 600 watts through either plug, or 650 for 30 minutes. You also have two regular USB style connectors, 2.4 amp, and you have a 20 watt type C connector and just your regular automotive 12 volt power outlet. The controls are pretty simple. You just have a power button which you hold to activate the unit. You have your display and an auxiliary light right here, which I'm surprised is actually pretty bright. Usually these things are not all that bright, but I saw stars for a couple of minutes after looking at that guy when I popped it on. So on your display, you can see the battery level right here, and you get to see what type of power source it's hooked up to. So here you can see the battery's plugged in. If I were to pull that out, well, of course, then the display would go off, but if you had a different thing plugged in, you would see it. There's like a little bit of a timer on here so it doesn't keep running. But you can see this battery's at 19 volts, and then if we were actually running something, you have a watt meter right here. Well, someone's going to want to know, and they're going to ask, can you charge this battery from the unit if it's plugged into 12 volt power? And the answer is no. The only thing it does is draw power from the battery to provide power to the outlets on the front here. I've gone ahead and connected this unit using the alligator clamps to a 12 volt battery, and which you can see because this is lit up right here and the unit is turned on. Now this is a clamp meter, and I have you can see that the unit is pulling 1 amp or 12 watts, or actually what was it, 12.8 watts with no load on it. So that's something to really keep in mind, because if you leave this turned on, it will slowly drain your battery dead. And in the case of a one of the 18 volt batteries, like a 4 amp hour battery, that's 72 watt hours. So it's only going to take 6 hours for this unit just to suck a 4 amp hour battery dry with no load on it. So I got a little space heater hooked up here. You can see it's pulling 372 watts at 11.7 volts. Which, if you multiply that by the 35.3 amps that it's actually pulling through the cable, is 413 watts. Some of you might be concerned about the 11.7 volts. This thing isn't actually reading voltage accurately, I don't think. According to my battery monitor, it's pulling. I have 12.44 volts available, so I'm not really anywhere near a danger point with this. So is this the greatest inverter in the world? Absolutely not. But I tell you what, during Hurricane Ivan, when I was out without power and it was really hot outside, I sure would have liked to have plugged a fan into one of these things overnight. There's a lot of things you can do with this. There's a lot of things that this isn't really big enough to do. But if you own about 15 or 20 of these guys like I do, it sure is nice to have that power available when you need it. Well, that's going to do it for this video. Just a real quick look at this machine. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below, and I'll be sure to answer it. Anyhow, thanks for tuning in. Does with the battery is draw power from it to whoops.